All right, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gringo the MC. I decided to start doing this show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, for a few reasons. Number one being that my biggest fans are all people who have met me and had conversations like that with me. So I feel like, why not try to give that piece of me to everybody, right? Long form conversation, stuff like that. Um, I don't really have a plan for this. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Um, I just want to get on here and express my thoughts on things, maybe shed light on some dope things that I'm seeing going on, and answer y'all's questions. I got a bunch of questions lined up for the Q&A section here in a second, but let's get right into it, man. It is November 1st, 2022, and I feel good. I feel pretty good, man. I can't lie. Despite some negative things going on, takeoff of Domingos passed away this morning right here in Houston, Texas. So that's a very sad thing. That was a sad way to start my day, but keep it pushing, right? So the first thing, I guess let's just start this episode off with I'll go through the questions and maybe that'll lead us into our first topics, because like I said, I don't really have a plan for this. I just want to talk to y'all and vibe with y'all and see where it goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Q&As, which I feel like is kind of a weird thing to do. I feel like most of the times on podcasts or shows that I watch, they don't start with the Q&As, but you know what? We're doing it a little bit different. So the first question that I had was from Noah Rutchins. Um, Shout out to Noah. We actually got a song together called No Problems. He said, have you ever thought about writing a book? And the answer to that is actually yes. I have thought about it, but I feel like nobody reads books anymore, So then he said, what makes you different from other rappers or artists? Man, so much. So much. So I feel like I've been through so much. And when I say I've been through so much, I don't just mean negative, I mean positive too. So a little bit of my backstory. I grew up in Nebraska, and both of my parents were into drugs and alcohol when I was young. They were still great parents though, especially all things considered, but I spent a lot of time with my grandparents and stuff too because of that. And not just because of that, but because they loved me, you know what I mean? And they enjoyed spending time with me. I'm very lucky to have a lot of people who cared about me when I was younger. My parents, my grandparents, my uncles, aunts. But through my family, I saw the best and the worst of everything, I feel like. Well, not even the worst. I saw the worst of everything through other means. But yeah, so growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, you know what I mean? We weren't as poor as some people that I know, but we definitely didn't have a lot of money. Uh so I saw that side of life, but at the same time I got to travel a lot because of my family and go see family. And when I was a kid, my grandmother took me to Disney World. I went and visited my uncle in Alabama when I was young, and he ended up becoming a real successful baker down in Alabama, and now he's done other things too, but his main career is baking. And so when I went out there with him, or to stay with him, uh all he does when you stay with him, his name is Corey. Shout out to Corey. But when you stay with Corey, all you do is just go eat at badass restaurants, like really badass restaurants, like $100 plates and shit like that. And so um that was kind of the first thing that I remember really opening my eyes to, like, real money. You know what I'm saying? And I, like, at the time, I don't know, he was making good ass money, but I don't even know how much money the people that I was seeing were really making now in hindsight. But at the time, it seemed like they were like billionaires. You know what I mean? They drove nice cars, they had nice houses, they ate good steaks, they ate food that I didn't see back home in Nebraska. I grew up on Hamburger Helper, you know, mac and cheese and hot dogs, shit like that. Uh, so I really feel like my wide array of experience is what made me different. Then when I was a little bit older, my dad drove truck over the road. So during the summer times when I was probably like 9, 10, 11 years old, during the summer times I would go with my dad, and we went. The first place we ever went actually was Houston, Texas. He had to come pick up a load in Houston, Texas. So we came down to Texas. We went to Arizona, Florida, I believe. And then we went up to New York, like upstate New York one time as well. So that also opened me up. Like, I remember just seeing everything and being fascinated, you know, just fascinated with the different areas and how the way that everything is same but different. You know what I'm saying? Everything, no matter where you go, at least in America, I don't know, it's probably different in other parts of the world, but no matter where you go in America, everything is the same but different. So and what I mean by that is there's different textures and different, honestly, different languages in some ways, you know. People in the South talk a lot different than people in the North and West and vice versa. But just seeing how everything was different, but at the end of the day, people's problems and what people wanted out of life were the same thing. So I really feel like that helped to mold me as an artist and to shape me. And yeah, so I guess just a vast array of experiences is, I feel like, what makes me unique personally. And then that would compound later in life, you know, when I became a teenager and I start making friends. Once again, I had friends on completely opposite sides of the spectrum. I had friends whose parents were doctors and they had big ass houses, bunch of money and shit, but most of my friends were relatively poor, you know, and friends in trailer parks, and, you know, their mom strung out on dope, and, you know what I'm saying, we're stealing weed out of her purse and shit like that. So yeah, that, I guess that's what I would attribute my uniqueness to, is just a vast array of experiences, and I loved them all. And that was the thing about me, even as a kid, is like I didn't feel out of place at any of them, you know. So you got some kids, if you grow up poor and then you're hanging around a rich circle or something, you might feel out of place, and vice versa. If you're a rich kid and you go hang out in the hood or some shit, you might feel out of place. But I never did. I always knew how to make friends, like, regardless of where I was, and I knew how to relate to people, because I had seen so much growing up, you know? Like, I could relate to both sets of problems in a way. So I really feel like that's what makes me unique as an artist. Let me see what this next question is. Hold on. Oh, where the fuck? Oh, it's right here. Let's see. Oh, and then one more question from Noah is, he said, thoughts on simulation theory. And side note, my boy Scam said he's the realest living in a simulation, baby. Yeah, that's right, bro. I appreciate that, Scam. Shout out to Scam. But simulation theory, I think it's just as likely as any other explanation for how the fuck we got here. You know what I mean? I think that whether we're in a simulation or not in a simulation, we're still in a simulation, if that makes sense. Because, like, how can I explain this? Like, either way, like, it's a simulation no matter how you look at it. You know what I'm saying? I think people look at, like, yeah, it is a simulation. I really don't see a way in which you can view it and it's not a simulation. You know what I mean? And on it, I've been studying a lot of religions lately, and I've been thinking about my own spirituality a lot. And maybe that's a whole topic for another episode, or maybe we can get into that after the Q&A. But yeah, I do feel like it's a simulation. Now, whether it's a simulation inside of a computer of something bigger, and you know what I'm saying, like we're we're just a small piece of a reality, of a bigger reality, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just as likely as any other explanation, you know. So I definitely wouldn't rule it out. But like I said, regardless, the way I view it is, it's a simulation either way. You know what I mean? All right, and then my man Travis Mack said what to do and not to do as an upcoming artist. This is a whole episode in and of its own, honestly. So, if you're an upcoming artist, the number one, like to put it in a nutshell, nutshell, yeah, to put it in a nutshell, just be yourself, you know. And I know that sounds so played out and it sounds so cliche, and it is, but cliches exist because they're true most of the time, you know, at least in some form. So I would just say be yourself. Don't try to chase the wave. Don't try to chase what's popping, because when you try to chase what's popping, then what happens is whatever that is that you're chasing that's popping becomes not popping anymore. And then you're left stuck with your thumb in your ass. And it's like, it reminded me of that J. Cole line when he said, the good news is you came a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way. And that's exactly, if you try to chase what's popping, that's exactly what's going to happen. And number one, for one. And for two, if you're pursuing something like any form of artistry, if you're pursuing music, painting, videos, movies, whatever you want to create, the whole purpose behind doing that for a living is that you're doing what you want to do, you know? So once you start chasing what other people are doing, or once you start seeking acceptance, if you want acceptance, if you want to be accepted in life and that's your goal, then study hard in school, go become a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, meet a nice girl at church and live as normal of a life as you possibly can, and try to blend in as much as you can, because that's what's going to get you acceptance, you know? So don't be afraid to stand out if you're a young upcoming artist. And also, another piece of advice for young upcoming artists, like something that I guess some advice I would like to give my younger self, is just don't worry so much about getting the big numbers, because if you have 5 people that care about you and care about the music you're putting out, then you already have a lot more than some of these people that you see who get thousands of views on their songs. You know, like, a lot of these people get thousands of views on their songs, but their songs aren't really connecting. Their songs aren't really touching anybody's heart, you know? So it reminded me of that video of that kid that goes off on his teacher, and he's like, not everybody learns like that. You gotta touch their heart, or whatever he said. He says something like that. But that shit is true, you know? And if you're not connecting with people, then you're really doing nothing. And if you're just doing things for the views and for the clout, I guess you could call it, then you're gonna look back in 5 years and realize that you worked really, 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 really hard to not get anything, you know? So definitely focus. And also the way that the music industry is changing too. Like, you know, 10 years ago, you could pump up your numbers, pump up your streams and this and that, and get to a point where a major label comes and drops a bag on you. And I guess you could probably still do that, but it's becoming that's becoming an outdated formula, you know? I think that instead of worrying about looking famous or looking successful, worry about who you're affecting and how you're affecting them. Because somebody like me, even, you know, if you look at my numbers right now, I think I got like 25,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, right? But number one, look at the artists that are reaching out to work with me. You know, you got, honestly, legends like Baby Bash. Baby Bash put me on the song with him and Paul Wall. That's a legendary collab. Like, those people have influenced the history of the game, and he reached out and, you know, functioned with me on that, just for the simple fact that he believed in me. He didn't ask for anything, he didn't expect anything, he just did that out of love. And then even some of my other collabs with Call Me Stevie Ray, J-Zack, I mean, it's a lot more Bill Grippin. You know, a lot of these artists at the time when they reached out to me to collab and stuff, they were way bigger than I was at the time. They didn't need me. You know, they could have dropped songs by themselves and done the same amount of streams that the songs we did, or roughly, you know, but that wasn't their concern. Their concern was with making timeless music. And so they reached out, we worked together, and you know, now I'm lucky enough to call them my friends. But the reason that is because it wasn't just about my numbers. They could see how I was affecting people, and they could see that I was making a real life impact on people, you know? So even still to this day, I may not have the biggest numbers in the game, but when I drop a t-shirt, my fans are gonna buy it. When I book a show, my fans are gonna pop out and they're gonna have a great time. And for some of the people that are in that crowd that night, when I do a show, I'm not gonna sell out an arena. You know what I'm saying? Not yet, at least. I will someday, but at this point, that's not what I'm doing. But my goal is to touch people, you know, and I got fans who have lifelong memories just from coming to my shows, fans who have met their wives through my music or bonded with their wives through my music, fans that bond with their children through my music, and their kids, they get in the car and their kids say, put on Gringo, and it's honestly more than I would have ever expected it to be, you know, and that's just the people that tell me that they do that. So if hundreds of people, thousands of people a year are telling me that that's the impact that I have, then I'm willing to bet that there's probably even more people than that it's impacting like that. So definitely, if you're a young up-and-coming artist, focus on the impact and be yourself, because there's way too many artists out here right now. I mean, not way too many, because I encourage anybody who wants to rap. You never know where it's going to go or whatever the art form is. But yeah, just be yourself and don't be afraid to stand out. And I know everybody says that, and it's another thing that sounds cliche, but it's really true. And everybody says that they're not afraid to stand out, but at the end of the day, people are afraid to stand out. People are afraid to go against the grain. And I'm not talking about wearing a crazy colored pair of shoes, or wearing skinny jeans. Like, people think, oh, I wore skinny jeans, I'm not afraid to stand out. That's not what that means, bro. Like, not being afraid to stand out means like yeah, you can dress funny now, or you can tattoo your face or whatever, but a lot of people are doing shit like that to fit in. They're not doing that shit to stand out or because they don't care about being different. They're doing that because they want to fit in with the counterculture, and trying to fit in with the counterculture is just, it defeats the purpose of the counterculture, so yeah, I guess that's my advice for younger upcoming artists. And I have a lot more too. And honestly, I don't really like giving advice to younger upcoming artists for the simple fact that I don't have all this shit figured out either. I'm still trying to figure this shit out as I go. And I understand that, I may have more achievements and accolades than a lot of other people who try to do what I do, but to me, I'm still at the bottom of that climb, I feel like in another 5 years, 10 years, who knows where I'll be, So I feel weird about giving advice, but I do know how valuable some good advice can be for a young upcoming artist. And so I don't mind answering that question, but it's definitely hard, man. Next question is from my boy Martin Scam. Shout out to Scam. He said, "What's it like smoking with Bash?" And I said on my post about this show that I'm doing, or whatever you want to call it, that I don't want to talk about other people very much. Because I don't want to start getting into gossip. And for one, I don't want to gossip about anybody. And for two, I don't want to clout chase. I don't want this to become a thing where I have to talk about this person because that's what's hot right now. And I don't want it to be like that at all. This is like a therapy session for me. But with that being said, I am going to answer this question. And this question wasn't a bad question. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying I'm going to try to keep talking about other people to a minimum. But for me, what smoking with Bash is like is it's surreal, Like Sugar was probably the first one of the first times that I ever heard about weed in music, you know? I mean, around that age, I had heard Eminem talk about weed here and there. Um, you know, and Dre a little bit. That Nelly song, Country Grammar, I used to like that a lot. But as far as just like a straight smoking song, Sugar Sugar was probably the first one that I heard. And I remember being a little kid and watching that video before school. Before school, it'd be like, you know, I'd wake up early and then from like 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. I would just watch TRL. And same thing when I got home from school, I would watch TRL. And I remember that video being huge and just it was that song Right There by Chingy, and a couple more that were from around that same period of time that just really stand out to me, that I can vividly remember the living room that I was standing in, the surroundings. I remember what the couch looked like. I remember everything. And I remember watching that video and just loving that song. And then when I got a little bit older, when I started getting into to my own rap music and making my own rap music, when I was probably like 12 years old, I got really into the dope house music. My best friend at the time, his name was Joe Lopez. I called him Brosif, and he put me on to SPM. And then so I start listening to SPM, and then I start listening to Bash because of that. Which at the time I wasn't familiar with the landscape of it all. I didn't really know who these people were. I just heard the music and I liked it. And so now being able to pull up to the studio and sit in on a session with Bash or even participate in a session with Bash is amazing. And anytime you chill with Bash, you're going to smoke with Bash. That's the whole thing about it, is like, I don't know, man. I got a lot of respect for Bash, man. He really is like a superhero in my eyes in a lot of different ways, man. And maybe on a different episode we can get into why, but it literally, to me, it feels like the question was, what's it like smoking with Bash? And to me, it's like smoking with Superman or some shit like that. For real, bro. It's dope. It's dope as fuck. It's like smoking with a Snoop Dogg or a Burner, or you know, somebody like that. He's a legendary pothead, a legendary weed smoker, and he's always got the best weed. Rolls, or he don't even, a lot of times, I guess he does roll joints too, but a lot of times he just be smoking the cones, the pre-rolls, the vibes pre-rolls and shit. And it's amazing, bro, because when I buy weed at home, I ain't gonna stunt with y'all. I ain't out here like buying the most expensive weed every time, maybe on an occasion or something, but I ain't bred it up like that. So when I buy weed, I just look for something decent for a decent price, you know? I don't buy the bottom shelf ever. I don't smoke booth weed, you know? But I buy just something nice, you know? But when you smoke with Bash, you're gonna smoke that, oh man, you gonna smoke that fuck, you gonna smoke some rapper weed for real. So smoking with Bash is one of my favorite things in the world to do. I'm actually on a break right now from weed. I'm gonna try to go 90 days. I was researching and studying the science of it, and I'm gonna try to go 90 days. I don't know if I'll make it. I'm on day like probably 16 or 17 right now, but the one person that I would break that for is Bash. If I end up at a studio with Bash or something and he's smoking one, I'm gonna hit that hoe. But other than that, I'm trying to go 90 days. So yeah, I guess to sum it up in one word, Scam, what's it like smoking with Bash? Legendary. Let me see what else I got. And then the last question from that Facebook post was thoughts on the metaverse and if it will affect live performances in the future. I don't know. I think I think we're already in the metaverse. That's kind of the crazy thing about it, is like, I don't think that the metaverse is a new thing. I think they're just putting a name on something that already exists and they're trying to develop it further. But I think we're already in the metaverse, and as far as performances go, I guess I could see that being somewhat successful, but to me, that's what I'm saying. We're already in the metaverse, and right now, lives Instagram lives, Facebook lives, TikTok lives, YouTube lives. Those are the performances in the metaverse. And it's like you're not gonna have, I don't think live music will ever be as successful in the metaverse as it is on in venues and in person. My bad, y'all. But I don't think so. I think that the dynamic of performing will change and has changed in the metaverse. I think it's just like back in the day, like, or it's just like if you go to a local coffee shop and go to an open mic night there, or a little dive bar and go to an open mic night there. That's a completely different type of performance than, say, going to an arena. You're still going there to hear music and to hear or to see a performance, but it's completely different things. And I think the metaverse is even more different from those things than those things are from each other. So the performances in the metaverse are going to be even different. I think in the metaverse, performances are going to be a lot more bite-sized, a lot faster pace, and you're not going to be able to. There's no real magic behind hearing somebody live in the metaverse, so to speak, because when you're live, when you're at a live concert, regardless of how big or how small, if it's an artist that you really like, you're looking at them and you're thinking, wow, I can't believe I'm hearing sound come out of that person's mouth right now. I can't believe I'm hearing it in person. But if you're doing a metaverse concert, you're kind of taking that away, which there's still cool aspects to that. There's still cool aspects to watching your favorite rapper on a live, especially the way that you can interact with them, and how you can drop comments and they can see those comments in real time and they can interact with you. You can communicate with them directly. But I think that's going to be what performing in the metaverse is like. I think that's going to be the most successful type of performing in the metaverse is interactive interactive performances, or things where you can talk directly to the person. As far as just straight, standing on a stage and performing in the metaverse, I don't know. I don't want to count it out because I'm no expert on this shit and crazier things have happened. But to be completely honest with you, I hope not. I hope that it doesn't replace. That's what I'm saying. I don't mind if it gets popular. I just hope it doesn't replace live shows as we know them. Because to be honest with you, that shit is. Oh, I deleted TikTok off this phone. I forgot. Let me see if I could find. I know I had a couple more questions on there. I don't know. I might just have to get to them next time. But yeah, man. So I appreciate everybody who dropped those questions on Facebook. I don't think there was that many questions that I'm missing on TikTok. I'm trying to think of what they even said, but I'm real sorry if I did miss your TikTok questions. Next time I'll be sure to get them. I need to download TikTok on that phone. Actually, let me just do that on here while I talk to y'all real quick. But yeah, man, so basically, like I said, I wanted to start this whatever you want to call it. I guess it's a podcast, but I'm just hesitant to call it a podcast because I watch a lot of podcasts while I'm doing stuff, while I'm working out. And I like educational podcasts. And I mean, I like other stuff too, but mainly I like educational podcasts, maybe a little bit of funny podcasts. And stuff like that, but I don't want to call it a podcast because I feel like that's not what it is. Like, to me, I feel like this is just a therapy session, you know what I mean? So, and I just wanted to post this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take bits and pieces out of it, that really resonate with me and that might resonate with people that watch, and post them to, all of the platforms. Okay, let me see. Posted my phone number. It's supposed to be sending me a 6-digit code. It's probably coming in on that phone. God damn it. All right, let me try this real quick. I apologize for the break in this, y'all. Gringo. the MC. Now it'll be a miracle if I get this password right on the first try. Because you know what it is when I started with all this internet shit, I had one password and it worked for everything. And then over the years, I don't know why it won't let me save this, but and then over the years it changed somehow. It changed, so like they're like, it used to be you need 6 characters, and now it's like, then it was like, oh, you need 8 characters, and then it was like, okay, you need 8 characters in a number, and then 8 characters in a number and a, what do they call them? Punctuation mark or something like that. And that should just be pissing me off. So now I'm on like my 23rd password. Oh, that's the incorrect password. Let me see. What else could it be? What else could... Oh, man, we might be locked out. I might not be able to get into this TikTok right now. Come on, baby. Verification. Man. I don't know if we're going to be able to get in, y'all. I'm real sorry. Anyways, in the future, I want to get guests on here and do more fun stuff. Yeah, man. All right, let me try one more. I don't think that's gonna be it either. Yeah, I only got 3 chances left. I don't want to get locked out of my TikTok or anything, so I'm just gonna leave that alone. But yeah, so I mean, I appreciate everybody who tuned into this one, and I'll definitely be doing more. Yeah, man. So I appreciate y'all. I don't know. I'm probably going to get off of here and think of a million things that I wanted to tell y'all, but I'll leave it short and sweet for now. If y'all want to hear anything, y'all want to hear me answer any other questions, send them to my inbox, comment them on one of my posts or something like that. And I appreciate everybody who tuned in, man. Let's see where this shit goes. I kind of like this shit. I'm out of here.